That was ugly. That was super ugly. My goodness. The Sixers fall to the Brooklyn Nets by a score of 122 to 109. The Sixers lost to a Brooklyn Nets team that did not have Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving. They lost to a Brooklyn Nets team that was basically starting a lot of guys on the bench. The Sixers lost the game by committing 20 turnovers, and those 20 turnovers led to 35 points for the Nets. The Sixers this entire game, just stabbing themselves in the foot entirely. And it always felt like when they maybe had a chance to get back into the game, it felt like one of those situations where, oh, you take one step forward, but then they make a careless mistake to where it's two steps backwards. That's what the entire game felt like to me. They just looked out of sync. Is fatigue even a question? To me, I don't like using any excuse of a back-to-back because that shouldn't be an excuse. And yes, I honestly did expect the shooting percentage to have some sort of drop off from yesterday's game because they're not going to consistently shoot over 60% a game. I feel like that's just a little bit too unrealistic for this team. Yes, it does hurt when you don't have Steph Curry in the lineup to where he is a consistent shooter and he can make his buckets. And you don't have it for this game. Doc Rivers says he's day to day with ankle soreness. Doesn't expect it to be anything really that serious. So honestly, I would expect him to be back on Saturday when they play Denver. But yes, they definitely felt like they were missing Steph Curry a little bit in today's game. But missing Steph Curry shouldn't be an excuse for playing just sloppiness against a Brooklyn Nets team that is missing two of their superstar players. KD out with COVID relations. Kyrie missed today's game because of personal reasons. This game should have been winnable. This game was winnable. The Sixers lost this game by themselves. And hey, gotta give credit to Brooklyn. They took advantage of every situation that the Sixers put themselves in. And they found confidence off of that. You gotta give credit where credit is due. You definitely do. Guys like Caris LeVert. Guys like Harris. Guys like Jared Allen. You gotta give those guys credit. You definitely do. But the Sixers should not have lost this game. The Sixers should not have looked that bad. They were bad. I would say majority of the entire every player that played today, there's maybe one or two exceptions, but majority everyone played terrible today. They played like absolute shit. They looked bad. Tobias Harris looked completely awful. 8 points, 4 assists, 7 out of 16 from the field goal, 2 out of 2 from free throw, 1 out of 4 from three-pointers, and 4 turnovers. Yeah, turnovers were a major issue in this game. Like I said, 20 turnovers, and those 20 turnovers led to 35 points. Danny Green only had 9 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist. All of his points were three-pointers, and he had 2 turnovers. Ben Simmons, miserable night, 11 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. 4 out of 13, 3 out of 4 from field goal. He did try to attempt to take a three-pointer today. He missed. He bricked it. And he also had 5 turnovers on the night. Joel Embiid, there were just moments where Joel Embiid was like, hey, where was this the entire game? And there were just moments like, especially in that fourth quarter, where he just freaking, I don't know what he was doing on this pass. I guess he expected someone to be over there on the right side, but then he just completely just fluttered it over there and no one was there to get the ball. I'm like, Joel, what are you doing? It just felt like this entire day was just mass confusion and miscommunication between the entire team. They were stabbing themselves in the foot the entire night. Like I said, Joel Embiid, 5 turnovers. Shake Milton, I would honestly say he's somewhat the exception today because I felt like he had a pretty decent game in the starting lineup because Steph Curry was out. He had 24 points, 1 rebound, 7 assists, 8 out of 13 from field goal, 7 out of 7 free throw, 1 out of 4 three-pointers, and then 3 turnovers. Honestly, he had a decent game. You could maybe say Tyrese Maxey had a decent game off the bench, 16 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 7 out of 12, 2 out of 4 from 3, 0 turnovers. Matisse Thybulle was completely non-existent. I think he played 17 minutes. He had 0 points. He was just all over the place on the floor. He didn't cause a turnover. He just wasn't doing anything, basically. Just could not do anything. And defensively, the Sixers just looked completely washed up. They were letting the Nets run all over them. They did. And a guy like Dwight Howard, I think he played 15 minutes in this game, fouled out. And foul trouble, that's one of the other issues in this game for the Sixers. 25 fouls. They were very undisciplined in this game. And yes, maybe some of those foul calls were definitely questionable. There was definitely some situations where players were just like, what the hell was that? And you're calling it on me? It was just one of those nights. It definitely felt like just one of those nights where you didn't have it. And like I said, it's not an excuse because this game was definitely winnable. It really was. You're missing 2 players on the Nets. KD, Kyrie. I know we keep bringing it up, but that's definitely going to be one of the main things. It definitely is one of the main things. And you had one guy missing. One guy in Steph Curry. Yes, I know Steph Curry has been a major beast for you this season. That's not an excuse to why you lost this game. Playing a back-to-back shouldn't be an excuse why you lost this game. There are no excuses in the world why you would have lost this game. And there is right to criticize for this type of loss because they just looked completely flat out there on the court. And like I said, I didn't expect the shooting percentage to go over 60 like it did yesterday against Washington. I feel like that's completely unrealistic. They shot 47% today. Even though some of their percentages are better than the Nets, the Sixers didn't take as many shots. They just didn't. The Nets took way more shots than the Sixers did in this game. They took 97 shots in total. The Sixers only took 10 less with 87. And also, it kind of felt like on the rebound side, the rebounds were kind of neck and neck. They were. But it just felt like on the offensive side for the Nets, they were hustling way more to get the rebounds, get those boards than the Sixers were. There were just moments where it was like, dude, come on, go after it. It just felt like there were so many moments where players were just sitting on their ass and not trying to go after the ball. There were so many Nets that were doing that. Jared Allen, he was a beast in the paint today trying to get those boards. It didn't feel like any Sixer was trying to do anything on the right there to get those rebounds. Even though it's a small sample size, it felt like it made a major difference. It just felt like there was zero effort given right there. The Nets, they got their confidence. The Sixers gave them that type of confidence right there. And they ran with it the entire game. Like I said, when you have 20 turnovers and you allow them to score 35 points off those turnovers, you're giving them all the confidence in the world. And when you have guys like Harris LeVert, Jared Allen, TLC, Landry Shamet, those guys hitting shots, and it felt like specifically a guy like Harris, he wasn't missing much today. He played 30 minutes. He shot 6 out of 9 from 3 points. That's just unreal right now. His total points for the game, he had 28 points. Harris was just unreal tonight. He definitely was. Not on the extent of Bradley Beal last night. Bradley Beal was just on a completely different level. But Harris did his job today. He didn't miss. He was playing good for them. But then it just, like I said, the Sixers were just completely shooting themselves in the foot the entire day. And going back to a guy like Tobias Harris, I feel like out of every player on the floor tonight, Tobias was the worst. Tobias looked awful. There were so many moments where he just undershot things, where he was going up for a little bit of a fader right there, and the ball just died. It died, it hit the front of the rim, and didn't go anywhere. It felt like he did that at least 4 or 5 times today, and he airballed a couple of them too. He definitely did. It just felt like it was one of those nights where the team just didn't have it. And this is one of the nights where you should have had it because you should have beat this team. You should have beat this team. It's a definite, you should have beat them. There is no excuse in the world to where you should not beat this team. And like I said, I give all the credit in the world to the Nets. They played a good game, and the Sixers allowed that to happen. They played a good game without KD and Kyrie on the floor, and the Sixers allowed that to happen. The Sixers, they were just a complete mess from head to toe today. Way too many turnovers, and sometimes their shot selection, they were just missing. They couldn't hit their shots. Like I said, they shot 47% from field goal percentage, and they shot 34% from the three-pointer. And like I said, I know we keep bringing this up, but I know from yesterday's field goal percentages, it wasn't going to be where it was today. You knew there was going to be some type of drop-off, especially when Steph Curry's not in the lineup and when he's not in the rotation. It just felt like everything that could have gone wrong for the Sixers in this game, it went wrong. It went completely wrong. Whether that's fatigue from yesterday's type of game where it was just back and forth, back and points galore, and everyone was just diming and hitting their shots. And then you come into tonight's game, you're a little bit tired, fatigued. Even though to me that's not an excuse. You should be ready to go every single game. Every single game. It just felt like one of those nights where everything that could have gone wrong for this team, it went wrong. It definitely did. It felt like that. Every single player on the court today did not have a good game. Maybe there's one or two exceptions. I feel like Shake Milton for the Sixers, he was their best player. He was definitely their best player on the court today. He actually tried it. And like I said, Joel Embiid, he had his moments where he was doing some good things. But then there was also some moments where I was like, what the hell are you doing, man? What the hell are you doing? It felt like that for a lot of players on the court today, and Dwight Howard fouling out didn't really help them at the end of the game right there. It really didn't. It just, like I said, one of those games. It's one of those games. And it was not enjoyable. It was very, very frustrating. But hey, they got to bounce back. Saturday against the Nets. Saturday against the Nets. They played the Nets today. Saturday against Denver. 3 p.m. Hopefully they'll have Seth Curry back in the rotation, back in the lineup. And maybe they can bounce back. It's gonna be a really difficult task. It definitely is. But hopefully they can find a way to bounce back. They are playing at home, and they do play significantly better at home. So, what are your thoughts on this game from the Sixers? Are you frustrated with their performance? I'm sure you are. I just want to hear your thoughts on the entire team's performance. Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, Shake Milton, just everyone. Just everyone on the floor. So, don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section. Don't forget to drop a like. Don't forget to check out the Painted Lines, which I am a part of. They're doing a lot of things for the Sixers season right now, doing live streams during games, all that type of stuff, and especially when hockey season starts, going to be doing live streams during games as well. So stick tuned with the Painted Lines for all Philadelphia sports-related news. Their links will be in the description below. Don't forget to check out the Flyer to Podcast merchandise website. Their link will be in the description below as well. We'll definitely get another podcast as the season comes closer and closer. Thank you for watching this video, and hopefully you'll hit that subscribe button, and I will see you next time.